and I got a job working for free. I volunteered at the York's radio station,
Right.
and I worked every Thursday for a year
I
straight.
didn't know that, dog.
For 2 hours.
Wow.
Just because I wanted to pick. I thought if I put this on my resume, I can go back to Ryerson. Like, yo, here.
Yeah.
But then by the time I did my first year at Ryerson, sorry to cut you off, Matt.
No, it's
I
fine.
got on academic probation. My first year I was on academic probation. I was like, fuck, I'm failing.
So what happened?
I literally dropped out of Ryerson. I was like, yo, Mom, I'm failing. I don't want you to wait. Because my mom paid my first year's tuition at Ryerson out of her pocket. And I was failing. And I was like, I had to go to my mom and say, this is not for me. I can't do this criminal justice thing.
Wow.
It's
See, the
too
thing
much
is-
theory. I
right.
didn't want to read. I was like, look, I'm a visual learner. I need hands-on work. I swear to God, I'm being completely honest.
I feel you. It's just
I'm
funny,
like,
dog. I'm
all
laughing
of
because I
it
can
was,
relate
it
to
was
that.
just textbook after textbook.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not getting this shit.
I remember that was your first year, right?
My first year.
I remember being in first year university, and so university starts in September, right?
Yep.
So regular school year.
Yep.
So after doing all this research in Xavier, I applied to Ryerson, got in, and I remember. So I'll tell you. I'll just veer off a little bit.
go ahead.
So I remember my friends from Rick Hansen, right? I remember vividly going into Ryerson to get my student card, and you get your student card in like August, whatever. I remember waiting in line in this like basement that wasn't air conditioned, hot as shit. But I
rack.
dressed.
I
Yes,
remember.
Yes,
Dressed up.
I dressed up, right, because I was
I'm
so
here now.
proud of myself, right?
You made it.
I made it, right? And it was just like a quick like flash, and I still carry my student card on me to this day. And like they gave me the card, whatever. Walked out. I took the long bus ride. It was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to get back to Mississauga. And I remember getting off at the terminal and seeing my friends that were there from Rick Hansen.
Yeah.
They were just chilling, right? They were just
Out there just doing nothing.
right
On the
And I
corner.
remember walking up to them and showing it to them.
Like, yeah, what up, nigga?
Well, here's the thing. They were so happy for me.
Word.
Right, they were really happy for me, and they passed it around and they gave it back to me. I went back, and that was like the last time that
You ever saw
I
them?
never saw them because
not
they're
that
dead
we,
now.
not
They
that we
dead
ever
now.
saw, not that we ever saw each other, but it was the last time that we saw each other all together. It was the last time that we were all together
Yeah.
As a unit.
as a unit,
Yeah.
and then that was the last time I ever saw them. And the thing, what happened afterwards is some of them did go to jail,
Yeah.
and some of them just I don't know what they're
What
up to
happened?
They
anymore.
did, man. They did.
They probably dead still.
They ain't living no more.
I ain't on front.
No, there were definitely some guys that had problems,
Yeah.
and had challenges moving forward, and I really feel like Rick Hansen fucked them up. Seriously.
Hey,
Only the strong survive
know.
that.
But yeah, man, going into university, I remember, I was there, got in September,
Yeah.
started working, and started, trying my best.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was getting it.
Yeah.
And I remember in October, it was Thanksgiving, and I was helping my mom, like our family, everybody would come over to our family's house, right? So we got to set up the house and make sure everything's presentable. And my mom was telling me, I don't know if she sensed that I was having issues,
Yeah.
or if she just happened to tell me this story.
Yeah.
But she told me the story of my father and how he had his grandmother. This is Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
So these people are coming from the mountains. They don't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And like almost his grandfather was destitute. His father made it out of that.
Yep.
And so they're still struggling a little bit,
Yeah.
but they're still, getting by.
Getting there.
They didn't have any money to send him to school, and he had to take out a loan from a bank. They had no student owes, like nothing like that.
Nothing.
So he had to take out a loan from a bank. He had to get somebody to co-sign for you. So he got his grandmother to co-sign for him,
Of course.
right? Because his mother couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Father wasn't in the position to do it, and so his mother co-signed for him, or his
yeah.
grandmother co-signed for him, and he started going to university. And he told me, my mom was telling me a story about how he would go into class. And the first day of class, he went in at UE, University of West Indies, and there were so many people there that he couldn't get inside of the auditorium
To see.
just to like hear the lecture,
Man.
Holy shit.
Damn.
right?
That's how packed it was.
That's how packed it was the first day, super packed. He
They
couldn't
just
get.
had no quotas to that. They just said everybody
everyone's
want to
getting
pay.
in.
You getting in?
Get in, right? There's this little room. Couldn't hear what the guy was saying because there wasn't microphone technology.
So nigga just yelling.
It's Jamaica.
It's
Right.
Jamaica. So
Little
nigga
white guy
yelling.
from Europe.
Yeah.
Yep.
First time he ever see a white guy in his life.
Yeah.
He's speaking with a European accent. He can barely understand what he's saying.
Doesn't understand a word.
So he can barely understand the accent.
Yeah.
He can't hear what he's saying. and he's out of the classroom, and he left early, and he's thinking to himself, like, he's starting to have like a panic attack. He's like, shit, like,
what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do if I leave? They're coming for my grandmother.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So he was like, fuck, like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna try to come back. So the next week he goes back to the class. Half of the class was gone. Half the class was gone, right?
Yeah, they just gave up.
They gave up. He goes back to class. He sits at the back. He's still having trouble hearing, but he can kind of get through the class.
Right.
That's the first class.
Yeah.
He leaves, comes back the next week. Half of that class gone. He gets in, sits right up at the front.
Right.
And then went on to, do well in the class.
Yeah.
He graduated UE, but the point is that what she was trying to tell me was that you have to keep on going because most of the people that are attempting this are going to give up anyways.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? And so she told me that story. Sorry, I think I have to come off page. But sorry.
No, you're good.
So she told me that story, and afterwards I was just like, I gotta. If he can go through that, if he can do that, then I can definitely go into class, make it there early, and at least struggle through these books.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. Like I have. It's hard for me to read a lot of to read books.
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit of dyslexia, to be honest with you. So it takes.
I know I do.
It takes a long time for me to go through a page and to actually understand what the page is saying.
We're on the same page.
So I would literally, read my textbook, and depending on the class, maybe the textbook was the class. Like the entire class was this textbook.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the textbook, reading it again,
Yep.
reading it again,
Yup.
reading it again,
Yup.
And then on the fourth time, I was like, I
get it.
think I
might have got it.
I think I understand.
got it, right?
That's okay.
And so I would do that for every single class. I would just be reading books. On my way to school, it was an hour and a half commute from my place.
I used to love those commutes.
I hated those commutes.
I loved it because I liked to read.
Well, that was what I
was 2.5 hours.
Right.
I just read.
That's what I was doing, right? I would read. I would try to get through a chapter here, a chapter there, and it really helped. And so in university, I was on the honor roll. I graduated with honors, and I would manage to make it out. But one of the things, the turning points in my life was, the summer of university. So I had my first year. I did well in class. I had straight A's. Yeah. Literally straight A's. I had a 4.0 GPA.
Yes.
Right? I could have got higher. I could have had A pluses, but I had straight A's.
2.1 probation.
I finished with 3.6.
My first year was like...
My first year, I didn't finish with that.
Okay.
I didn't finish with that. No, I'm not crazy. I didn't finish with that.
I finished with
my first year, bro. I was like a rookie that got sent to the D League. Oh shit! I was struggling.
Go ahead.
But it's one of those things where you're not. You probably thought to yourself, "This isn't for me."
I honestly went in thinking, I did so well 4 years in high school. I could do this in college, university. So I went to university. Nobody was asking me to see my homework, which was my first mistake. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, wait, she's not checking my homework, so I gotta do it. Yeah. Next thing, she said, your exam is on this date, and I failed to realize...
Yeah, 3 months away.
It's 3 months away, but I need to read every chapter to be prepared. Right. So when it got to a week before the exam, I gotta read 20 chapters?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll get a random 3 or 4 of them and see what happens.
For me, I feel like... And it's not to blame my high school, but I don't think my guidance counselors or my teachers really prepared me for what to expect when I got to university.
Right.
Because I was always being held accountable for my homework. The teachers were like, show me your homework. Here's your essays due in 2 weeks. Show me your thesis. When I got to Ryerson, nobody was asking me for my thesis.
Yeah, they don't care.
Nobody was asking me about, hey, let me see your bullet points. Yeah. It was like, it's due on this day.
You ready for the thing? Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Right.
So I'm an 19-year-old kid, just got to university. I'm like, now I have to be an adult all of a sudden?
I'm not ready for that.
Like, I have to be...
I gotta be responsible? What are you
talking
about?
I have to time management my shit?
Right.
And on top of that, I was on the Ryerson basketball team, so I had practice. I was like... I was just happy to be there because I'm like, I'm on the team. I'm going to play some
Ryerson,
CIS basketball. Yep. And we had our study time. We had to put in 2 hours every day in the library. But that 2 hours in the library, the girls' team was in the library. So, I'm like, hey, yo, what's up, baby?
What's up, Cheryl?
I saw that layup. Yeah. I saw that layup. That was good, though. That was good. So I wasn't really studying.
Yeah, for me, Ryerson, that, my mom really did a good job of making me understand the sacrifice that they went through, that they had gone through, and that's I don't even like I said I don't know if she did that on purpose or if that was just me being trying to put myself in her shoes.
Yeah, you know, I think it was a bit of both. I think she probably knew where you were at and knew the messages that you needed to hear, whether you needed to hear them or not. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I mean it's definitely like when we and you know we're all children of immigrants, right? And it's kind of like when you hear what they went through in order to and what they gave up, you know, it really makes you feel like if they can do that, then I can read a book. Like it's not a big deal.
In a comfy house with air conditioning.
Yeah, I can read a book. I can if they can do that
bus,
stuff.
They're walking 10 miles to get to school.
I can do that, and they're not lying, right? Because we've been to where they're from, and they definitely were walking those.
Yes, they were.
With no shoes,
none.
And my dad has the feet to show it, right? So, right. So you know for a fact that this really was happening, right? So you know when they tell you those stories, like it really for me it made me feel like I need to push. Yeah. And so, you know, at Ryerson, I was trying to push. But here's the thing. At the end of my first year, you know, then it was time to make money, right? Because it's my end of my first year. It's you stop going to school in May, right? Yeah. So you got May to August.
You got
May to September,
months,
really. 4 months.
There. 4 months of nothing.
Right. So here's the thing. During my first year, I started working at, you know, I looked around to find a job that I could do. I found a job as a security guard. Okay. And I started working in condos, just being a security guard. And I was like maybe 18 at the time. I was 18 at the time, and that was one of the best things. That was a great like growth experience. It was definitely a pivotal part of my life because I was able to see what modern wealth looked like. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And yeah, I mean that definitely. I was in North Toronto. I was in I was in North York. It was by Shepherd and like fucking Shepherd and Young and Shepherd.
Oh, so you were surrounded by crazy
Young and Shepherd. I know that.
Yeah,
and you saw money.
Well, at the time, it was still that
it was
area
was
still booming.
That was like 03, 04, 05.
No, this was like 06, 07, like 07, 08.
Oh, I thought it was established by then. It was still coming up.
No, it was still coming up. If you go to Young and Shepherd right now,
that's where
the
I work.
Massive buildings that you see there were just like pits. They were just like pits, or they were like Chinese restaurants and shit. Dude. Now it's it's really compared to what it was. It's really.
This dude literally works at Young and Shepherd.
I'm telling you, I see Lambos on a daily.
Yes. Yeah. Like when I was there, it wasn't. Ferraris. When I was there, it wasn't like that yet. It was approaching that. It was getting there.
Oh, it's there now.
and you know the thing, when I was doing like the front desk at this place, you know, I really saw, okay, this is what it looks like to not live like the typical, you know,
middle class.
Yeah, like this is how they live. This is what that looks like. And I was making good money, man. I was making like $12 an hour.
At the time, that
was money. That was like what, $700 every 2 weeks.
You were like, I made it.
Yeah.
It was great. I wasn't doing much. Like I said, it was front desk.
Yeah.
The hardest part about that job was just staying up, man.
No, I feel you.
I feel that.
Being lucid and conscious. That was the hardest part of that job. There were a couple of times like I would come to work with like a whole like set, like Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1, Blade 1, Blade 2, like the whole
coming with DVD.
I go there with my laptop. I'd have all my DVDs ready.
All the music ready.
To watch these 17 movies real quick and just stay up.
This is before Netflix. This is all before that.
I gotta have my shit ready.
Yo,
had it ready, and they used to have a camera trained on the security desk.
Yeah.
So they could watch the security guards, right? Like, so I had to like angle
it, like,
right
down and
but
but you knew the angles though. You knew the angles.
Right. So I just like kind of like.
Yeah. So they're probably looking at you wondering, yo, why is Matt always looking on the ground?
What is he always
his whole shift?
Yes.
What is he looking at?
Yo, so
why are you staring at the ground, Matt?
So I used to get complaints. I say I made not a lot. Over the span of 4 months, I'd say I got like maybe 3 complaints total.
Yeah. This nigga's just looking down. I came to the desk to talk to him. He didn't know I was even there. Just looking down.
Residents that were like, I like Matthew, but he's always looking down. He doesn't say hi. It's like, how am I going to say hi and watch the accuracy at the same time?
Yeah, like,
I just want to say hello.
I'm trying to watch the NS play too, my nigga. Like, let me watch, bro.
Come up to this. Excuse me, sir. Oh, yeah, hello.
Yeah.